What's up, YouTube, and welcome back to the Knicks Cave. I'm Jan, a Knicks fan, your host, and let's get right into it. But before we do, don't forget to hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe. Leave a comment. You want to know when the next video going to drop. Hit the notification bell. All right, let's get into this video. Early mock draft selection, or shall I say suggestions. I have, on my own, I have at least four players that I think the New York Knicks should be interested in. But I also have two other players, which you could say three. I just happen to agree with BNR because I'm basing my video off their early mock draft. But I have two players that are interesting, but I do feel the New York Knicks don't need at this time, and I'll break them down. And then I will get into my selections that I really think will help the New York Knicks progress as a team and as a franchise in the years to come. All right, excuse me. First person on this list is Jared McCain. This is a selection from BNR. Their previous mock spot on this player was 20. He had moved up 4 spots. From Duke, nationality American, position shooting guard, age 20, height 6'3", weight 197 pounds, and his pro comparison is to Emmanuel Quickly, a player who we just traded. And how do I feel about this guy? I'm not going to lie to you. If it was any other year and we didn't have Jalen Brunson or Miles McBride on this team, I would be clamoring for this guy. He's very exciting. He's a guy that, in my opinion, is going to get a team over the top because of his point guard making skills, if you understand what I mean by that. He's a very savvy player. What else can I say about him? His crappiness in the pick and roll, well, instead of giving you my point of view, because I'm going to tell you, I do like the kid. It's just that the Knicks are a little stacked at guards. But let's hear what BNR has to say about him in this minor scouting report. Let's go. Jared McCain shot making should be one of the draft's more bankable skills. Given the high school tape and this year's 41% three-point shooting. But he should add some secondary value with his pick and roll craftiness and efficient transition offense with body control finishes and pull-up threes on the break. Now, like I said, this is a good player. There's no doubt about it. He would make the Knicks a better team, but like I said, we already have too many guards. But at the same time, we don't know what the Knicks is going to do during the drafts. So if they were to take this guy and draft him and hold him as our third option for point guards, then it will be key. Now let's move on to the second pick that BNR selected for the New York Knicks, and that is Jamal Shead. Previous mock draft spot 41, school Houston, nationality American, position point guard, size 6'1", 200 pounds, age 21. Pro comparison is Jaylon Carter. And let's see what they had to say about him. Scouts are talking themselves into the idea of Jamal Shead succeeding in the same defensive pest role as smaller guards like Jaylon Carter, Miles McBride, Jose Alvarado, and Patrick Beverly. With 29 points against Texas Tech, 25 points against Texas, and 23 versus Oklahoma, and not to mention his last game against Iowa State where he scored 26 points, he's also now starting to deliver more on the scoring punch with his floaters and his pull-ups. And my evaluation of this guy, he reminds me of Jalen Brunson coming out of college. And what I mean by that, Jalen Brunson is a great offensive player, but let's be real, when the Dallas drafted him, they drafted him with mind of his scrappiness and his defense. And I know a lot of people don't think Jalen Brunson is a defensive specialist. He's not a specialist, but he is capable to play good defense on night to night. And since he's been here, I know there's been flashes. He's not here to play defense. Let's be real. He's here strictly for offense and nothing more. Strictly for offense. But moving right along, this is not either a selection that I think the Knicks got a chance of getting. This is just my dream draft, and I'm going to be real. This is a player that I really want on the New York Knicks. I don't think it's possible, and if it was possible, I would be so ecstatic because I think this kid is going to be a superstar in this league. And if you could pair him with Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson, the Knicks will have something very special. Now let's get to the player that I'm talking about, and that is Kel'el Ware, and that's my Superman. I'm gonna be honest with you. Previous mock draft had him going at 14. I know he dropped 5 spots back. out of Indiana. Indiana is not looking real good. We don't know what they're going to do during this March Madness. Nationality American, natural born center, don't play any other positions, although we could use him, spread him around the floor because he is that versatile, in my opinion. Size 7 feet, 242 pounds. He's 19 years old, and his pro comparison is Jarrett Allen. This is why I really like this kid, because of his pro comparison means that he's not just an offensive threat. He can get it done on the defensive end as well. Now let's go to what the scouts have to say about him. Losses have overshadowed Kel'el Ware's stronger play over the past month, but a 27-point, 11 rebound, 5 block game and a win over Wisconsin help bring more attention to his finishing, his defensive tools, his shooting touch, and the ability to impact the game on both ends of the floor. Now, this is what I'm talking about. This kid is going to special. And I know there's some people out there that question his motor, his toughness, and a little bit of his decision-making may cost him a lottery pick. But in my opinion, we're going to have a point guard to take care of the decision-making. And as he gets older, because like I said, he's young. He's only 19 years old, so them decision-making is going to improve. This kid, in my opinion, is the steal of the draft. I know a few of y'all might have some other people out there, but in my opinion, this kid is the steal of the draft. And I am really, really hoping the Knicks can pull off something and get him in our camp, or get him on our team, something, because this guy is going to be a special player. If I could pronounce his name, I'm just going to say Victor W. I think he can be our Victor W. The 5 blocks a game show you that he's a defensive-minded player, but he's also offensive-minded. And this is what Mitchell Robinson is not. I know a lot of people, we got our starting center, and he's not going to start Kel'el right away, but he's a future starter. And I don't care what anybody say, this kid is going to be great in the league. All right, let's move on to another player, which is a BNR selection, but also one of my selections, one of my favorites in this year's draft. So let's talk about that player, and that player is Stefon Castle. Now, Stefon Castle, what could I say about him? I'm like my opinion of him. I like him because he gives a size at 2 positions. That's the shooting guard and the small forward. And knowing Tibbs, if he had to, he would be a power forward. But I like him at 6'6", 215 pounds, and the age 19. But his pro comparison is Bruce Brown, a player who we was trying to acquire at the trade deadline. So we know we're going to get defense from him. But let's see what BNR has to say about him on his offensive end. Believers in Stefon Castle see a 6'6" playmaker who plays at his own pace to get to spots and finish through contact, tough contact. Skeptics question his quickness for creating separation, shooting range, and relying on his transition and offensive board. Well, you can work on that mid-range jumper or whatever case may be, but with the reliance on the transition and offense board, tell me that when there's a fast break, this kid get up and down the court. And not only get up and down the court, he is a high flyer. His draft range will be wide, but Sunday's 21-point highlighted some impressive ball handling moves and short-range touch to go with his power drives. As I told you, he will improve on that mid-range jump shot. Castle should ultimately have extra time to strengthen his draft case, with Connecticut looking to poise to make a deep NCAA tournament run. We already know how Connecticut players get down, and no, we're not going to talk about John Wall, but this kid, in my opinion, can be something special. Or with the Knicks, he can be that bench player. But what I like about him and what the Knicks lack is size. You know, when our players got hurt, and even before the players got hurt, when Randall went to the bench, we didn't have a true power forward or a true small forward. And even though he's a shooting guard, he can get slated into that small forward. Is better than having Josh Hart. I know Josh Hart is a great rebounder, but imagine if Josh Hart was going against a player he's supposed to go against. He would be so much better and so more effective. That's just my opinion. Let's move right along here, because it is another player that I definitely consider and I do like. And I know a few of y'all are going to, not understand why I chose this pick, but I'm going to say something. because not only I'm going off of needs, I'm going off of sides. And what the Knicks need in this year's draft, we need a small forward, we need a power forward, and we need a center. Now, with that being said, let's get to the next player. And my next player on this draft board, and this is my own selection. This has nothing to do with BNR. They got him going to Philadelphia at 21st. That's Jaylon Tyson. And he kind of reminds me of Jason Tatum. Yes, I said it. JT all the way. His previous mock selection was 19. He dropped back 2 selections. California, nationality American, small forward, power forward is his position. And that's what I'm talking about, because he can play the small forward or he can play the power forward. He's 6'7". He'll still be a little undersized and power forward, but today's we play so many players out of position, it still would help us, and it still would give us the size that when we go against guys like Jason Tatum or Jaylen Brown, we would have that size, because you see the difference in how it hurts us with the players we have right now. Let's face it, the New York Knicks are too small. So this is why my draft needs is size. Is size to fill the positions that we need to fill, but get the right size. He's 21 years old, and his pro comparison is Caleb Martin. So let's see what the BNR scouting report has to say about him. Jason has become one of the draft's most advanced on-ball forward with his handles and footwork for self-creation into drives, jumpers, floaters. Tyson's shot-making off his own dribble and post move have powered his scoring production. He just haven't been efficient enough off the ball, and some teams may question him how he adjusts and fit after this year of only playing 30 minutes a game. Well, 30.2 usage percentage. I can't explain why his coach, why they didn't play him as much. But when I look at him at 6'7", he provides size as a small forward and a power forward. He can create for himself, which is a plus, but have to work on his defense. That's my only reason that he will have to work on his defense. But Tibbs is a defensive guru. You know what I'm saying? That's what some of y'all tell me, because y'all know how I feel about Tibbs. I mean, he got us in a position where, yes, I am proud to be a New York Knicks fan, but I just don't like his schemes and how he runs his offense. If he were to change that, I think the New York Knicks will be a much better team. That's just my opinion. Y'all can let me know what y'all think in the comments, but Tibbs is, in my opinion, I would give him slight above mediocre. It just so happened that he's blessed with the players that can get the job done. And let's be real, that's just the truth. That's just the truth. But back to Caleb Martin. But back to Jaylon Tyson. I think he would be a perfect fit for the New York Knicks, especially coming off the bench and replacing Julius Randle. He gives a size. He can create for himself. He's just going to have to work on his defensive skills. All right, for the next player, and this is another guy that I do like, and I do consider him to be a prospect, but boy, is this guy a real prospect. I mean, he is a prospect. I have trouble pronouncing his name. Ory Kamari, previous draft spot at number 21. He fell back three spots. Team, NBA Academy, Africa, nationality, Cameroon. Power forward, center his position, so he can go back and forth at 6'11", 225 pounds. He really give us a body that can be in the paint. But when I get to his scouting report, y'all are going to be surprised, because the kid is only 18 years old and he's already being compared to Serge Ibaka. You heard what I said, Serge Ibaka. And you're going to tell me for an 18-year-old kid to be compared to Serge Ibaka is not showing potential? And what I mean by that, because if you look at Serge Ibaka, when he first came into this league with the Thunder, he wasn't much of an offensive threat, but he worked on his game. Well, he came into the league, and the coaches, you know how coaches assign players to, this is your job. Well, Serge was one of the players who didn't show much of a jumper or whatever the case may be. But as he progressed in his career, he became a almost consistent knockdown mid-range shooter, but that three-point shot, nobody expect him to develop that shot. And now this kid is coming into the league being compared to him. Now let's hear what BNR has to say about him in their scouting report. Ory will be one of the biggest draw at April's Night Hoop Summit, and his performance there could dictate whether he's bound for the 2024 draft or the college in 2024-25 season. He generated significant buzz at the NBA Academy games during G League Showcase Week, popping easily with size, length, rim protection, shooting range, and a brief ball handling and passing flashes. Even if teams deem him to be a multi-year project, there's going to be a certain front office, and I'm hoping the New York Knicks that's going to be too tempted in this year's draft just to let him go by. I mean, we can bring him in, and we can do what we did with Jericho Sims. But when I look at this kid, he's better than Jericho Sims. So I see him being more productive than Jericho Sims. And then we have to think about the threat of Isaiah Hartenstein. If Isaiah want more money and the Knicks is not willing to match that, he is gone. So with my wish draft, which is Kel'el Ware, and we can't get that. I know y'all might think there's a couple of other better big men. I think this would be the perfect fit for the New York Knicks. This guy right here, Ory, I cannot pronounce that last name, so I'm not going to butcher it anymore. But I really do like this kid. Now, this is my last selection in this draft right here. And I don't know how some of you will feel about this pick, being that it is, some would say, going out on a limb. But actually, I think this guy, like I said earlier in the video, I'm going for need, but I'm going for size. And what we need is size. And there's nothing been more evident than what we've seen by the last couple of games, even before the injury. So this guy provides size. At 6'9", 220 pounds, he can play the small forward and power forward position. His previous draft spot was at 28, so he moved up 5 spots from Colorado. So I'm not the only person that's seen something in this kid. And his pro comparison is Kyle Kuzma. And I like Kyle Kuzma game. Just think about when Kyle Kuzma first came into his league, there was a lot of doubt, and he proved a lot of people wrong. I know he's playing in Washington on a team that's basically headed for the lottery, but Kyle Kuzma on the right team could be a real complimentary piece. I don't think he's a star that can carry a team, and nor do I think this kid is as well. But I think he's a nice complimentary piece coming off the bench, spelling Randall. Like I said, that 6'9", 220 pounds. He gives us the size that we desperately need when Randall is go to the bench, or if Randall, God forbid, ever got hurt again and have to sit out. We have the size. We have the size in this player. And let's see what they have to say about him in B&R scouting report. Well, Cody Williams is one of his teammates, and if not the star of that team. But Tristan went for 27 points and 11 boards against Stanford, giving scouts a balanced mix of ball handling, counter moves, off the moves, finishes, and three-point shooting. Some teams will pass on him because, in my opinion, it's not really that much of a big deal, but his lack of burst and explosion around the basketball, and some talk about his physicality. But shot making, touch, and body control, and let's not forget the most important thing in basketball, his IQ is off the chart. So, and Tibbs is a defensive guru. Tibbs would love this player because of the IQ basketball alone, but the scoring. The only con is that he's not explosive. And in my opinion, when the guys get into the league, a lot of things seem to change. You know what I'm saying? They seem to become different players. And for all the expectations that people gave him, they seem to surpass them expectations. And I think this kid would be perfect for the New York Knicks. He give us size and he give us scoring. And the thing that I like most about him is his basketball IQ. So y'all tell me what y'all think about the guys that I just mentioned. 2 guys, I know the first 2 guys, shooting guard, point guard, they can both go either way. The Knicks are a gluttony, have a gluttony of guards, so we really don't need nobody in that perspective. But everybody else that I mentioned, the Knicks should really take a hard look at. And being that the way the Knicks is playing right now, when we go to draft, we're going to be somewhere in the mid-20s. You know what I'm saying? Maybe, I'm not going to say the 19s or the teens, because that means we would have to start slipping in the standings. But I see us drafting in the mid-20s. That first pick, 16, that's a Dallas pick. And I think that pick might go up to, let's be real. But the way it stands right now, I like the players that I just mentioned. Things can change. March Madness is popping off, and players' stocks is going to be rising and falling. But these players that I mentioned, the last 4, and my wish list, I think will really help the New York Knicks. Tell me what y'all think in the comments. And with that being said, I want everybody to stay safe, stay healthy, God bless, and peace.